bit about animal signs, so that way you can get better at knowing and looking for different things, what could be on your property. So an animal sign is just simply anything left by an animal, either whether it's visual or sound or smell, too. I used to carry my bottle of fox pee in here, but I don't have it anymore. Well, because the plastic was getting older and I don't want it cracking in here. And then, you know, there's footprints, there's sounds, there's shells, and I mean, even something like this, let's see. All right, here we go. All right, even something like this, if you're looking at that, you go, oh, cool, that's a bone. So that tells you, and once you figure out what bone it is, it's from a deer. But that's not the sign that I'm looking for. So do you see another animal sign on there? Chew marks. Okay, so now then you have to figure out, well, how big are those chew marks? Now, I happen to know they're from an eastern gray squirrel because I left these bones outside and I watched them do it, okay? And I thought, okay, well, that's cool. And then this one, let's see. Yeah, all right. So this one isn't an eastern gray squirrel, but there's some along here. I'm not sure 100% what this is, but this is an elk bone, and I found this around on the outside of Rocky Mountain National Park. Did I state that right? We already had that talk, right? Yeah, see, I even put near Rocky Mountain National Park. Okay, so those are little clues to tell a lot of different things, you know, in an area. You can also find things like this. All right, and there we go. Okay, so anybody know what those are? Beaver. Okay, so I know it's beaver for a few reasons. One is because the teeth marks, they're huge. And I have actually a beaver in here, just the skull, not the whole thing. Since beavers can be 60 pounds, I don't have them in the bag. All right, so I can show you what the teeth look like. I mean, the teeth are pretty intense, so... And on another time, we'll cover skulls, but if you were to just find a skull alone, too, there's a lot you can tell by just looking at that skull. One is the top is flat, so the eyes are up. So if eyes are on the side, it will run and hide. You know, if eyes are in the front, it can hunt. But this one would be kind of hard to tell right away when you're just looking at the skull, but thank goodness you have the teeth. You know that's not a predator unless you consider this wood being preyed on. So it's, you know, just got the molars and then the incisors. This one, now this skull was actually given to me. It came from a store called Evolution in New York City. So somebody gave it to me. So the eyes are up on top on this one, so that makes sense because they're swimming and they're going to need to be able to see. And I don't think it's this one that I can oh yeah, I can show you. Okay, so a beaver's tooth, the incisors keep growing, and that's why anybody had guinea pigs or hamsters, gerbils, rats, you know they've got to chew. And if they don't chew, you know, it's just going to grow right up their nose. So, but this just shows you how much tooth is there. So when they file it down, just more comes up. So this is a beaver. Now here In Texas, if you have beavers, you're not looking for a lodge out on a pond or something like you would in the north, you know. Beavers here will be in rivers, and then they're going to burrow into the bank.
But we have a lodge. We have both burrowing into the bank and a lodge.
Wow. And where is it at?
This is in Bradfield Village in Utah, which is a drainage pond.
That is cool.
And when we have a big, and I took pictures of it, because when we had, no rain for so many
Right.
years, and it was dry, I was able to walk right up to it and look right into it. And it had abandoned it because there was no water there. So.
That's a field trip right there, man. That's pretty cool. That is super cool.
Like creek and river patterns, like places where there's more mountains, or do they not? Because they're not.
Yeah, I mean, I think, so beavers are probably one of the coolest managers of habitat. Now, unfortunately, it ticks a lot of people off because they don't want them managing it on their property. But wherever, you go to like Moosehorn National Wildlife Refuge in Maine, there are a lot of beaver things. And I mean, they just changed the whole landscape, and the amount of birds you get there is just like unbelievable, because they manage for what they're doing, but a lot of other things move in. So
they create really good salmon habitats. You better salmon habitat than humans are able to recreate, like in restoration.
Yeah, I mean they're great. It's just and I've been in areas where people blow up the dams, with dynamite. Yeah.
Dredged out the dam.
Right.
And they want to get rid of the beaver because they have purposely planted vegetation around the retention pond for safety purposes, like cattails, which less likely kids will fall in over there, the deep parts. So they like to get rid of that beaver.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, it's chopping down a lot of trees. It really is. I'm surprised.
Well, they must be crummy trees. They're probably not native. So you could get lucky enough if you were in a muddy area to see a beaver track. But one of the best clues at night when you go to try and find them, because they're really hard to find, is the slap of the tail in the water. Oh yeah, it's the best. And it is really loud, especially if you go to some swamp in the middle of the night and you have no idea that they're there. It will really get your attention. So, just for the beaver itself, you have footprints, you've got the skull, the teeth marks, and then we can't leave out the most important thing, the scat. Now, you can't really get a good appreciation in this little thing for the scat, but it actually, to help you remember chicken nuggets, okay? Because it actually looks like a little breading on them, and it can be a different color because different cambium layers of different trees are different colors. So, this one might, there could be one that really does look like chicken nuggets, where it's more of a yellowish color. So, never collected an actual beaver scat, but this is rubber. See, I know you thought I was that cool, right? Or that stupid, right? Yes. Well, I mean, I guess Buda, right? But it's going to follow along rivers to get to wherever it needs to go. So, and it's not that common. But I mean, I know that they're in East Texas, but a lot of the East Texas ones will either get trapped or shot. And then I know that in Buffalo, I was at a place and there was this 500-acre, it's kind of like a swamp and some other things, and there were some. Yeah. So, all right. Another common critter around here that you might encounter, of course, is this, right? So, you can find all kinds of things with these. So this is a white-tailed deer. But more and more, we're getting other things here. So you have to look for axis deer now, and sometimes just up the road I saw a fallow deer already. And then when we do skulls, you'll be able to see differences between deer and pigs and some other things. But just a little introduction. Okay, so here's one that you can find pretty often around here. Just depends where you are. So, anybody know what these are? Turkey. You can pick these up. Why can you pick these up? It's a game animal. So, I was just playing a game with them, but I didn't shoot them. And then this is actually the beard part. And I guess a hunter must have killed one, and I walked up on some feathers, and boom, there it is. I mean, I was like, no way, I actually got the beard. So I actually have the beard of this one. So this is the tail feather, and then this is the wing feather. So this would be the left wing. And, they do a display, so pretty soon you should start hearing them gobble. And if you want to know if they're around, a lot of them will roost up in trees, during the night so that coyotes and foxes don't get them. If you want to know if they're there, there's something called shot gobbling. So you can either imitate a barred owl, howl like a coyote if you can. I can't do that. Or you can, I know something we used to all do if we were out bird watching and we needed to get them for our day, is we'd all get out of the car and all shut the doors at the same time. And if we were near a roost somewhere, they'd go, and then got them. Okay. So now there's this, and then sometimes you'll see their tracks. Now this is a foot. So this one is from a male because it's got the spur. If it doesn't have the spur, it's a female. So that's, I think these are eastern turkeys from further north. So they're going to be a little bigger than some of ours, but the footprints are going to be like this. The turkeys that we have here are the Rio Grande subspecies. So there's just slight difference in the tail and the size. And then, of course, there's turkey scat. Okay? So remember, if it's a bird, a lot of times it's going to have white on it because they only have one opening. So mammals are the ones that have two. So a bird is going to basically poop and pee at the same time. So the white is the urea. So if you see white, it's either going to be from a reptile or a bird. It probably won't be from a mammal unless it was eating kaopectate or something. But this, so, you have a big turkey and then you have this little scat. So anybody that's had chickens or something like that, that the size can vary, but that's about what the scat would be like. And then, of course, hang on, we'll do a sound. So if a hen is calling, it'll just kind of be little putt calls. So you might hear that, and if you want to get a tom to call or something, or maybe even to get him to come in and take a picture of them, then you can do that kind of thing. Okay, something that I think that there's more sightings of now that there used to never be. So I think East Texas got a couple sightings not too long ago, and of course in Big Bend you can now find these, and it's black bear. So I'm going to show you some things with black bear. So here is, see, and it's just a black blob. Now, I've seen a lot of black bear up north, and I've seen lots of scat. I used to take my kids when they were little, and we'd go to known bear areas, and I'd take them on bear trails, and they thought it was great. They didn't realize it was dangerous, but, you know, it was fun. So this is a front foot of one. And, you know, black bears, they're really kind of babies. They're not any, you know, big scare. Because, I mean, look how cute that is, you know? I mean, that's cute. Here is this is at, I think in Yellowstone. That's my daughter's hand when she was like 3, and that's the bear claw marks in the tree. So, you know, we were doing some tracking. And then here's the back foot. And see how I made him step in that, right? See? But yeah, I just poured plaster in there, and then I have these feet. So maybe we'll do tracks sometime. But so black bear, they're not really that scary or anything, but they do have little latrine sites. So they will have a place where they deposit their scat a lot. And it might be an area like the areas I saw up north were like half the size of this room. And it just had, you know, and after a little while, because they're 75% plant material, black bears. And so, you know, it all turned kind of gray after a little while, and there'd be spots all over the place. And then you see a fresh one, and you're like, yes, that just happened. That's exciting. And then, you know, my kids and I would try and find them, you know. But they try and avoid you. But so bear, so if you're in East Texas, maybe you get lucky. If you're in Big Bend and you hike up along Boot Spring, and in the evening, you're almost, I've heard, guaranteed to get them now. So that's kind of exciting. I talked to a hiker when I was on my way up there a couple years ago, and he said, yeah, I wasn't expecting that at night when he was out doing something. I said, hey, that's cool, man. Okay. Now, I'm going to do some sounds, but I want to show you something you're probably not going to find here, but I want to show you the picture anyway because it's really cool. For one, we're not going to see this because we don't really get snow, do we? But that right there is kind of cool because it tells a story. So it's obviously an owl or a hawk. You would have to see, you know, measure the feathers, look at them, and know what time of day it hit or whatever. But so if it was to fly down and just grab something and take off with it, probably wouldn't have bashed itself in the snow like that. So most likely this guy missed and didn't get it. And if you see the tracks continue, you know he didn't get it. And the same with like this one too. Some of these I did find, and then I took pictures and tried to blow them up. But all right. And this is one that maybe you could find, maybe on Padre Island or something. Turtle. Or somebody driving, yeah, but you can see the turtle. Kind of gives it away there. You can't look. But turtle. All right. Now, the thing I like the most is I love, and we'll try and do something if I have it all together sometime, are sounds. Because for me, you know, I'm busy, I'm doing things, and hearing something, that is the world to me. Like, I would have never had those purple martins if I didn't know what they sounded like while I was working during the day. So here's some different... Anybody know what that is? Squirrel. It's a squirrel. Yeah, I know. I probably wouldn't attract one here, but, you know. But, yeah, this is a squirrel. I always go after hunting season to all the stores to see if they have any cool sound things to add to my stuff here. Okay. Wait. mallard. Let's see. Inhale, exhale. That's one that swallowed a worm. That's a Canada goose. You can tell I didn't do that for a long time. Now, I don't know if any of you have been out and you actually heard deer do this, but they can. Have you heard fawns ever call? So they'll make, like one time I had to rescue a fawn. It was sitting in the middle of the road. Well, I couldn't have that, so I pulled over and I picked it up. I'm just going to warn you, be ready to pee in your pants because they have the highest blood-curdling scream you've ever heard in your life. I thought the thing was falling apart in my arms or something, but they make a really high pitch. So this is made so that you can, that's like a fawn, and then maybe a doe would be here. And then, oh no, it's the other way around. Okay, so here's the fawn. And then doe. And then buck. You will have more of a grunt. So, little fun sounds. And how many of you heard the gray foxes bark? They do that little, do that, you know. That one I don't have one of them for, but I call like them to just freak them out, you know. Okay, so an animal we used to have in Texas that used to be all across North America that isn't around anymore unless you go to the Guadalupe Mountains is this one, the elk, and then of course, you know, a good one like that. And then this is actually hair that I recovered from near Rocky Mountain National Park. But okay, so on the back of them right here, they have a lot of extra hair because they're in cold areas. So a lot of these mammals will have really solid, hollow guard hairs. So, and it acts as extra insulation. And the same thing is true of bison. If you ever go to an area with them, they'll actually rub against trees at the end of winter, beginning of spring, to get all that hair off of them because it's getting hot. Huh? Yeah. And then there's a whole lot of different animals that do that. Deer, I haven't really seen them do that. They just lose their hair, and pretty soon you're going to start seeing the colors are going to start to change again. Because right now, you know, there isn't as much greenery out there, they tend to be a little duller, and pretty soon they're going to get their little orangey colors back. And then, of course, elk. Yep. See, Christy told you. Okay, last bit of poop. Okay, so their poop, okay, their scat is like this. And it's more cylindrical, you know, where the whitetails are more like little footballs. But you'll notice that changes, and we'll dedicate a whole class to just scat. But I just want to end with this. So this is the bugling of an elk, okay? So if you're in the area of an elk, you'll hear that.